This is the Freeheel Life podcast, episode number 142. I'm your host, Josh Madsen, coming at you from the Freeheel Life shop in Salt Lake City, Utah. And welcome back, my friends, my Freeheel Life family. We are psyched to be here. And we're going to hop right into this. We've got some special guests, a new guest and an old guest, and they're somehow sort of related. But first, we're going to do some newsroom and notes, and I'm going to hand that over to none other than the well-known, always excited, going to give you his social media handle after this, Telly Tay.
Oh, yes. I'm stoked to be here.
How was the intro?
So, yeah, Josh got that out of the way. Instagram at Telly Tay. That's very important that you follow me. Anyway, back at the Freeheel Life podcast. Stoked to be on the show as always. What's going on in Freeheel Life land? To fill you in on the newsroom and notes section. Well, we have 25 skis are done, or maybe done. They're being tuned like as we're recording this, so they should be done soon. So batch 1 is all said and done, accounted for, pre-ordered, and built. Batch 2, which is still the current like live inventory on the website, is probably going to be pressed the week after this dropped. So protector skis have been on our mind lately. Inventory wise, the batch 2 is starting to get a little limited, and I would advise, if you're thinking about it, hit us up. I'd love to talk to you specifically about these skis if you have any questions. But if you were hoping for, I'll just swing by the shop in, January or something and pick up a pair then, I don't know exactly what the inventory situation will look like, or what sort of our batch 3 or potentially a batch 4 of protector skis may look like. So, not saying that I don't want to be building skis in the winter, because I definitely do, but sort of just the logistics of our production schedule and everything like that. A pre-order is a great way to guarantee that you will get a pair. It also, gives us a better idea if we need to modify the third batch, because the 174s, for example, have been the hot size. I think those might be sold out as of the moment you're listening to this. If not, there's probably like 1 or 2 pairs of 174s up for grabs. Other stuff, we're all wearing our new Freeheel Life t-shirts. Both Josh and I are wearing Freeheel Free Mind. Alex has got drop knees and all that good stuff. We're all wearing the same exact Telemark skier hat. All those can be found at freeheellife.com. That's pretty much all that's been on my mind from a Freeheel Life perspective is protector skis and new merch. So keep an eye on the website, mailing list, social media, all that good stuff for any updates. Since that's about it in my corner of news, and I already said his name.
Do you want to introduce him?
I would be more than happy to introduce my younger brother, Alex Johnson, who is a first-time podcast guest and been working here at Freeheel Life for 2 years, 2.5, 3 years, something like that.
Hello.
What's up, Al?
Thanks for the introduction. I think I have been working here for 2 years, I guess, 2 seasons at least. Kind of brought on in December of one of the first year. But yeah, this is weird. This is really weird to be here.
Yeah, you seemed a little more nervous than, well, Josh obviously does it every week, and I'm not a stranger to the podcast, but you seemed a little more nervous.
Well, of course.
You're also like the see, part of why this is fun is because you're like the guy you're like complete opposite of Tay in terms of like social media. Is you actually don't have social media, I don't think. Do you have any social media?
Like
that you actually use or get on, or
that I actually use like to post and everything. Like, no, I mean, I have a Facebook, I have Snapchat. I have TikTok.
Snapchat? What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Do you have Snapchat?
I did a long time ago.
Interesting.
I don't really use Snapchat. That seems weird. I'm like an old dude, so that gets like kind of creepy zone at that point.
Snapchat's more of like just messenger type thing. But yeah, no, it's really weird to be here, and I am nervous because I mean I'm definitely listened to the podcast, long time listener, but I've never thought that I would be here.
Long time listener, first time guest.
Or I mean, maybe like early on when you were first doing episodes, and it was kind of like sub 50 in terms of the episode number. I was like, oh yeah, like Josh is going to ask me to be on at some point, and I will probably go on with either my dad or with my brother, so they can kind of piggyback and fill in how my story came to be. But no, now we're what, 130?
This is 142.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's like triple what you were just talking about.
Yeah, so now what? Triple the.
Yeah, you've had
audience
100 weeks
too?
of mental preparation for this moment.
Oh gosh.
Actually, yeah. So we've had your dad on, Russell Johnson. Tay's been on. You've been on.
We got to get Lloyd on one of these days.
I know. I literally I've got a perfect turn, the book he wrote, on my desk that when I was cleaning out the office, I forgot. It's autographed too by him somehow, and then I found it online. So it's there ready to read.
Was it addressed to someone else like, hey, Bruce,
No.
enjoy the read?
That'd be really funny though. No, but it's signed by him, I'm assuming, unless someone signed it, Lloyd Johnson. And
Probably him. We could compare.
You guys could look at the
Yeah.
notes. But yeah,
So in other words, my brother Alex, comes from a long, deep roots of Telemark skiers in the family, and he also is a Telemark skier.
you guys are very unique. I'm glad you're here though. Thank you for being here.
Yes, it's a pleasure.
Yes. And you've taken over the position of our finance manager, which is sort of combined with shipping, which totally seems crazy and weird, but that is the so-called life of Freeheel Life is you are managing very well, I might add. You are very smart. You're way smarter than anyone, I think. You're very statistically minded, which is nice.
Big numbers guy over here.
Huge numbers guy. I think you kind of skipped over it a little bit, and not to get into too much detail, but I've grown up here in Salt Lake. I've been skiing Alta my entire life, and I went to school at Westminster College here in Salt Lake, and I went to school for finance, and then I did an internship and got my degree, and then hadn't quite found a job yet. And that was kind of about the time that COVID, I think, was beginning to be a thing. And your guys' shipping guy, who happened to be Miles at the time.
Oh, that's funny.
Got COVID and was out. And Tay was like, hey, do you want some part-time hours? I could really use the help.
Yeah, that was actually that.
I forgot that Miles was the shipping guy.
That got you off of, to quote Shred Smith, the joy journey after college.
Oh yeah, the joy.
I roped him back into a job.
You were on your joy journey. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and so that was kind of a no-brainer because I had been involved in the shop. Like I had been a customer. I had seen a lot of the behind the scenes, knowing Taylor and Taylor being my brother and talking to me about work and whatnot. And like I said, I had some shipping experience. Not that you need it for monkey work.
Hey, shipping is a very critical part of the Freeheel Life business.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But
I think. Wait, were you still working at the print shop because you had background like at your dad's place?
Right. Yeah, I was doing shipping and fulfillment in the warehouse at my dad's place, and I think I left that job a few months left in my last semester of college, because I kind of realized it was a lot more heavier of a load than I had anticipated, and I still wanted to find the time to go skiing every once in a while and still get good grades. And so I kind of left Incentives West, finished school strong, and finished the ski season strong that year.
For sure. And then, you started shipping at Freeheel Life, and then last year you climbed up the corporate ladder here at Freeheel Life, and you were promoted from shipping guy to finance manager. So, great move there, kid.
Yeah, quite the step up.
I'm glad you went to school and you're a numbers guy, and it just happened to work out that you were here. And then, but I really am grateful that you have that background, because, I think, and Ashley, she's done such an awesome job getting us here, but then it kind of got crazier. So it's nice to actually have someone who, you're helping us go in the correct direction. Even though sometimes I know it's confusing with working with a guy like me that doesn't understand half of the stuff that you know. But this is good. This is why you're here.
Yeah, no, that's trying to apply all of the book principles and definitions, and once I get into the real world and you guys show me this is what business is like. And it's kind of crazy and a little bit more to grasp onto, but I'm doing my best.
You're doing awesome. So this is interesting because, okay, so obviously we kind of know the backstory a little bit. You guys grew up here in Salt Lake. Skiing's a huge part of your family. And I guess we kind of have the background on Tay because of learning how to, that's something you always bring up, Tay, is that you kind of you were a kid when you started Telemark skiing. I've never asked you, were you kind of the same way? Did you end up having the little, did you get the yellow boots?
He probably got my hand-me-down Teledactyls, and then.
Because how many years apart are you guys?
2, basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So super close.
Yeah, so that was my first boot, right? The smallest one, and that was in our family.
Yeah, the little Garmont Teledactyl, and then we had some other variations of Garmont 3-buckle boot, and then some Bumblebee T1s, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember we bought, I forget when it was pre you working at Freeheel Life, but we found a pair of T1s from KSL, which is like our local classifieds page for those non-Utah folks, basically Craigslist. And I don't know, you might have been kind of similar like me. We didn't really, either of us really ski that much in high school. We were so focused on hockey that we didn't really ski that much.
Yeah, I think, I was kind of like, skiing was so part of our family that it was never like a special event or a special outing. Like we did it all of the time, and so it was just kind of lost its wow factor, maybe, almost, at least when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
And like definitely would ski probably against our will, just drive up with the family on weekends when we were little. And then I think I kind of dropped off in high school around there. Didn't really ski all that much. I never really got like the bug,
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's probably similar to me. I didn't ski that much in high school either because I was playing hockey and I was more interested in that, which you are also a hockey player and still are. I'm retired, but
yeah.
That's so crazy that you guys are all hockey players, because Miles is a hockey player too. But were you really into hockey, Alex?
Oh yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys play the same position?
Yeah, we're both forward.
Both play forwards.
Okay.
But
I don't even know how it's broken. I don't even know anything about hockey. I know as much about hockey as I know about golf, you guys.
Two defensemen, a goalie, a center forward, and a left wing and a right winger.
I feel like I would be the goalie. Would that fit my personality?
Yeah, kind of. It was also your comment about being the broomstick putter guy, which I don't know. Some goalies are a special breed.
See, that's what I'm saying. I feel like I always thought the goalie was cool.
I mean, the goalie's cool. Like, he's a very important part of the team, but
he's kind of left out.
I have no interest in getting in front of a puck.
Those guys take it.
Like, I mean, they got pads, but like, you definitely still get people are shooting a piece of hardened rubber at you at 70 miles an hour at you. Like, that's not going to feel great.
I've always felt like hockey goalies, I think, are more like, have you ever watched lacrosse goalies? Those dudes don't wear that much padding.
Yeah, that's crazy. I would not play goalie. I also my personality is I want to be the one scoring. Like, I have no interest in stopping the goal. I have interest in creating a goal.
Are you like that too, Alex?
Yeah, definitely. And I think, I don't know what it is, but yeah, goalies definitely have a certain personality that is just weird.
Perfect.
like you'll you'll look at a goalie, or like say you go to like a dry land or something and you have no idea of who's playing what position. Like you could definitely pick out the goalie from a lineup because they're just different. Taylor, what do you have there?
I have the fine Kroger brand Seltzer water.
Okay, we each have that was nice. All right, here's mine.
This is like a full.
I know Alex wanted to crack a can on a microphone, and I don't know. 4 p.m. We haven't
midweek.
been mounting a lot of skis lately, so we're not. I don't know if there's anything in the beer fridge from Tips, but we had a seltzer water. So I also figured out. I think I used to just think I really liked Coca-Cola. I think I actually just like Bubbles because this is a no flavored sparkling water, and I've cut out a lot of Coca-Cola out of my life by drinking sparkling water.
You look so much more svelte.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't think so at all. I don't notice any changes, but it's I can get down with just the sparkling water.
You know why the beer fridge still has beer in it? And we've addressed this, but maybe it's a good time because it's like not, the season hasn't started. Guess what's left in there? You know this.
IPAs.
Why? See, this is why do Telemark skiers all think that everyone drinks IPAs?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's we do get a lot of craft beers and stuff as tips, which is nice. But if Nate had his way, it would only be cerveza. I'm okay with the cerveza, but
meaning like Corona, Modelo.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
That's Spanish for beer.
If you ever are interacting with Nate and he says, like, if someone asks, if you ask Nate, he's helping you, buy a binding or whatever and helping you get it mounted up. If you ask, what beer does the tech like? And Nate immediately says cerveza, the beer's not for the tech. It's for Nate. So just be warned. Anyway, yeah, we got our sparkling waters here.
I like that. Very well done. What an interesting time. Lots of sparkling waters and seltzers.
So back to hockey, skiing. Okay, then probably it was during college, like after your elusive high school hockey career and yada yada. You were looking for new skis, boots, bindings, and I sold Alex a Outlaw X, as one may predict, because I love that binding. A TX Comp, because I also love that boot, and we sold him a Freeheel Life Rude Boy ski,
which you're like one of the few guys that has
17. So if
the checkered top sheet,
yes,
and
which was like your go-to ski from that was 2017.
2017, yeah, that was pretty much. I mean, the ski I spent the most time on that year too, but yeah,
I don't. You say it's my go-to ski. I think it's my only ski.
This is why you needed to come on the podcast, because we have to distinguish the background of each person, because it's like that seems normal to me. You have like a ski that and then you might get a new ski and that's your ski. And then there's like Nate coming on the podcast and he's like, I have like 100 pairs of skis in my closet, and that's very different. So.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I mean, I've never really been a gearhead, and maybe that's just my nature in my upbringing in telemark skiing, because like we said, like just kind of grew up with it, and the parents put us on the gear. I wasn't necessarily dropping knees when I was in my teledactyls, but I was on the gear, and that's kind of played.
And then you just got my old gear, so like you didn't really ever have a choice as to what type of skis you got.
Yeah, I just came to Tay. I said, hey, I need a new setup, and he says, okay, you need TX Comp, Outlaw X, and what do you know it? We make skis too.
Yeah, well, that's. I mean, I think that's cool. Like, yeah, you're influenced by Freeheel Life in a much more intimate way than other people, right? Because it's like, you're my brother, we were roommates at the time, like it's like you're around me, but to get you on that product is pretty cool. And you got, I guess that would be five seasons, or this, yeah, basically you got like 5 seasons on that pair of skis. So, maybe a Protector 105 might be a good upgrade. So, we could work something out.
What did you say? Protector?
Protector, yeah. Protector
I've never
105.
heard of that.
Never heard of that?
Where can I find one of those?
I'll hook you up with my guy, Nate. We can maybe get you a pair of skis.
Okay.
Yeah, we should probably do that. We should probably upgrade it. Although, that would make a lot of sense. It strikes me as interesting. We haven't actually talked about this, but the fact that you are so numbers minded, I would think you'd be a gearhead. That's super interesting. I don't know why.
Unless the gear I sold him is just that good that he just goes and skis and he doesn't think about the gear.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like good pitch.
I guess so. Like, I mean, I'm not saying I haven't considered other things. I've definitely. There was a interim period between, like, but I guess I was on an old T1 and a BD 02
yeah.
and some random pair of skis that we found at like REI once for maybe a season or two before I got sick of that and you converted me to NTN. But and so I have skied that and I was sick of cartridges spinning out and
that's funny.
whatnot, and I think eventually I think what sparked the upgrade was I totally blew up yard sale one day down going 100 miles an hour down Shush's Gully at Alta, and my metal edge bent off, and it was just so far bent, and metal has memory, and it was impossible to recover. And so I said, okay, these skis are done.
What skis were these? I don't think I ever saw that.
I think it was some
Amplid?
it was an old Amplid that I think we bought that had been drilled twice. It was another
the Black
it was a $50
Diamond
boot and like a $50 ski at like the BD gear swap.
Oh,
So it was like definitely balling on a budget type telly setup. But yeah, I remember you totally blew
there?
the edge out on those.
Were you there when you crashed?
I think that might have been a solo day.
I don't picture that of my brother blowing up down Shush Gully. When I think of my brother blowing up on Shush Gully, I think of his initiation day on 3 pins.
I was gonna bring that up. So so you did that. It was 2 seasons ago, right? We did your initiation, and this is something we've tried to maintain with everybody that works here, where we take them up on 210s, 3 pins, and low cut leather boots, and basically you get no warm ups, and then we make you ski below
Collins.
I'm blanking. I was about to think like Germania or
Well,
something.
it was old man. It was Germania.
I know. Sorry. I know my brain just totally farted out there. But I will. So, and then we just make you go, and you're a good sport. But I have this vivid memory of you getting tangled up, and I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this. There's a picture somewhere.
We got to dig that up for like the additional podcast
because like anybody who's so skiing that old gear, a lot of times you'll have that moment where you go into the turn too deep, and like your uphill ski sort of like the tip will sort of like sneak behind, and all of a sudden you're like cross-legged. But somehow you did that, but the ski tip got stuck in like your butt or something.
It was riding up my ass crack.
But it was like stuck in your pant, and like remember, like we couldn't get it out.
I remember. I remember, Josh. I thank you so much for bringing up this traumatic experience.
That guy on YouTube that got mad at me for calling it an initiation, this is where it starts happening. We're going to get blowback like crazy. They're going to be like, see, this is what you guys are hazing your employees.
Oh, man.
So, I don't know. Do you want to walk us through
and just like you can, if you want to talk about your initiation day, go for it, Alex. But for the record, he has since skied leather boots willingly multiple times. So it didn't turn out too bad, even though he did have a Europa 99,
that's
in a deep, dark place.
That was a rough initiation too, because that was when I think T2 was doing it the same day, right? And
no.
or is that a different day?
It was a different day, but
okay. Anyways,
same season. I
did
think.
did you end up doing the smelly knee pad this year?
Sort of. Did
you go across the high T with
this
with
year
the
was
gear?
my second year doing the smelly knee pad, and I went up the high T with all the boys, but kind of went to the edge and looked at the drop in and decided that was certain death, at least for me. And so I said, hey boys, I'm gonna drop in way down here, and if that means I get a no score or whatever, like, so be it, but this is where I'm skiing. Have fun. And so I think I just kind of...
I respect that you know your abilities, but...
Yeah, I went to the side and kind of just hung out with the judges and watched the show.
Yeah, that's, I guess... And I missed it because I got sick. It was a weird... And then it snowed, right? Wasn't it snowing?
Yeah, it was like good snow, actually. It was hard to see, but it was like 3 inches of butter, basically.
Hoff Dog won it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have to reconvene next year and see if we can get you to go.
Yeah, and we're all over the place in this podcast, I feel like.
This is how a podcast rolls. This is like the typical one where I'm like, all right, boys, let's get on a podcast. And then you're like, what are we going to talk about? And then like an hour later, it's like over and you're like...
Well, sure. But I mean, like the listener in me is, like we brought up like this story about...
Sparkling water.
We brought up this story on how I blew up one time, and then instantly we're on this thing and that thing. It's like, the listener in me, like, well, what if they want to hear more about this?
Okay, well, what would you like to tell the listener about a follow-up of any of the things we've been talking about?
First off, thank you for being very linear.
It's very organized.
I'm glad you asked. Because we definitely jumped over a story that I have been thinking about, my only Telemark story.
Oh.
That
Here we go. Let's go.
Okay. Well,
vroom, vroom. Here we go. All right.
There was once a young Alex who was on Teledactyls, right? And those were my ski boots as far as I knew. Like, I didn't know any better. And at some point during the season, like, I had my dad upgraded me to some other Garmont 3-buckle that maybe was a little bit bigger and fit a little bit better, and I assume a new binding, or at least a new binding that was the cable was adjusted to that boot, and I guess had forgotten that I had upgraded one time, because we were doing a at our elementary school, we would do a ski day like once a year or something, where we would go up to Snowbird for the day, and like in the mornings you have a lesson with some instructors, and they split you off into groups, like, oh, you're beginner and intermediate, advanced, and I would join the advanced group because I could pretty much ski anything, and we would go do a couple black diamonds, and they kind of would just show you around the mountain, wouldn't really give you any instruction. And so that was kind of like, I was probably 3rd or 4th grade, however old that is. And I kind of grabbed all my ski stuff, and I didn't know any better, and I grabbed the smaller boots. Do you remember this?
I do not remember this story, but I also have a bad memory of childhood. I don't remember.
I do too, so I'm surprised I remember this. And I grabbed the smaller boots and the bindings that were like set up for the bigger boot, I guess. And we get to the mountain, and you were also there, but you were a few years older, and we were kind of all on the bus, and I looked down, and I'm like realizing, or I had like my friend Meyer or something was looking at my boots and said, whoa, those are interesting boots. And I'm like, yeah, these are Telemark boots. And they're like, what? Why is that? That's so different. Like, what, yours look like this and mine look like that? And I'm like, yeah, this is a little bit different. Like, I'll show you how it like it attaches in. And I was like, as I told him that, I'm looking, I'm like, oh, these are not the right boots.
Did you know how to adjust the cable or what?
Well, I didn't. No. But then we got up there, and everyone's like trying to strap in, and I'm like, Tay, I screwed up. I screwed up, Taylor. And I'm like showing him, and I'm like, these don't fit, and I couldn't get the heel lever up because it was just so so loose. And so I think me and you went into like the ski tech shop and said, hey, like, you guys ever worked on telly? Like, yeah, kinda. Like, okay, how do we make this binding work for this boot? And we like spun the cartridges as tight as they would go until it was like it would work, like, kind of. And we were like, all right, well, is this good to go? And they're like, I don't know. Like, you might be good for today, but I do not recommend this. And so they like sent me on my way, and I was going out like on this like semi-working pair of bindings and boot combo, and just like I don't remember them ever like blowing up on me, but I was just like, you know, I'm a kid and I'm so embarrassed that I have to like go in here and like get help, and I'm just like, oh, I ruined the day and everything. But anyways,
no, I wish I remembered that, because apparently I was there, but I'm glad that we could share one of like your core memories of being a young telemark skier trying to promote your sport and having
total binding failure.
Yeah, total binding failure. And I remember the instructor like kind of noticed, was like, whoa, like, young tele skier, like, you're on telemark gear, that's so cool. And I was like, I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh, can you like do tele turns? And I was a kid, I like didn't really do tele turns. I was just like on the gear, and it was like easy to move around the lift line, you know.
How old do you think you were? Do you remember? Like 10.
I guess third grade's probably like 10.
Yeah, probably like 10, maybe like 9. I don't know.
It's always so interesting talking to you guys, because your perception of it is, I mean, I think it's a good representation that you guys actually were on Freeheel gear, but you just skied. Like, you didn't necessarily have to be like, I'm making tele turns all the time. And it doesn't sound like, talking to both of you, like your parents weren't making you do tele turns from like day one, but they just let it evolve, and then you sort of naturally gain the skill sets.
You know, our parents were just able to get us the equipment and then get us to the mountain, which is, you know, and also huge part of that, of just getting us to the mountain and getting us passes and all that stuff. But to sort of just grow up into it. I mean, now, Alex, you're a very proficient telemark skier. Like, you can make tele turns down anything.
Thank you.
I know you are a little more cautious than I am sometimes on telemark skis, but you can definitely tele ski.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think even that's kind of like super telling into how I'm just like, I never really put any thought into, like, I've never like made my own decision about what gear I want, you know? Like, my parents put me into it, and then you just tell me what to ski, and I just like trust, basically. And so I think I'm on what I'm on, and I get used to it, you know. And you know, I've been skiing enough, and I like ski in a certain style that, you know, like TX comps are the boot for me, you know.
Yeah, like this year was probably the first year that you actually even tried any other combinations of stuff, right? Like, you you tried the TX Pro, you tried the Lynx. Did you try Mejo?
Yeah, so I think I've been on Outlaw X 99.9% of my NTN career. I think I've been on a Freedom maybe for like a week.
Yeah, you were skiing. I forget why.
It was a demo setup you guys have.
We might have been waiting on,
and I didn't have my Rude Boys yet
to be finished.
Yeah. But and so I remember being on that and being like, this isn't like, might take some getting used to, a little bit different of a flex compared to the Outlaw, which I had skied before. I don't really know what from or what ski it was on.
I think I'll let you demo something.
Probably. But so I think this last season was the first time I had picked up a pair of TX Pros for myself, just, you know, to have and to try out. And so I had my TX Pros, and I might have even been World Tele Day this year. That was the first day I put them on. And I did that with the intention of taking out a lynx or taking out a Majo for a lap or two. And I think I did do one run with a lynx, maybe one run with a Majo. I'm not sure, but that's it. I really have not skied much else.
That's kind of like, what's interesting too is we always talk about this. Like, even though I started later than you guys did, the three of us kind of grew up telemarking as kids, but like not because we were backcountry skiers, which is kind of interesting. Like, we grew up going to the resort.
Oh yeah,
as a telemark
you probably never
skier.
had climbing skins on.
Never.
You've never even had it?
I've never been backcountry. I've never put on skins. I don't own skins. Telemark is solely a downhill technique for me.
Yeah, which is yeah, and I think that's awesome. I think that's so funny. I didn't even think about that till we were talking about it, and I'm like, yeah, we kind of all grew up similarly that way, because I didn't even think. I mean, we kind of hiked around like in the beginning, like when it snowed in October, and you'd like run up to the mountain, and you're like, I'm going skiing, and you'd like hike up, but
you weren't reading your book on the lift and your leather boots and your pins.
Yep.
Like, you weren't necessarily, okay, I have to learn this turn so I can go ski Tuscarora across the road, or Wolverine, whatever you can see from Brighton.
Actually, it didn't even really cross. It crossed my mind. Yeah, that's an interesting point. I remember going into Wasatch Touring, the store, and I remember seeing the maps, like the backcountry maps. Yeah, and I remember seeing switchbacks, like pictures of switchbacks, and I was always like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." And I would always see Bob Athey. Mm-hmm. And I have these distinct memories of being like 16, and I would take the bus up to Brighton to teach to the ski school. And I don't know why, but I have these multiple vivid memories of Bob popping out of the woods.
Just on right on
the side of the road. And here's this like red hair like flying out of this hat. And I'm like, that guy's a backcountry skier. He's like a telly guy.
Yeah,
but I didn't really know how to get there. It wasn't like, there wasn't like this end all be all like, oh, I'm going to hike. I did have skins. I guess I did walk around a little bit, but we didn't even have beacons, dude. I had skins, but no beacon. So that puts it in perspective, like what we were up to. It was like not serious backcountry skiing.
Yeah, it's a little bit different nowadays, where you can take, probably more classes and there's more information about that stuff. But I don't know. That's kind of interesting that, Alex is, I guess, pretty close to my dad, like a mostly resort telemark skier.
Yeah.
And pretty close to me too. I don't really go that much backcountry skiing either, but
yeah, that's interesting. Al, I'm curious, working here, what's been interesting for you, like working in a telemark shop? And you've always kind of been on the back, like you weren't ever like a front of house guy, but I'm just curious, like, even with shipping, or I don't know, just being here.
Yeah. I think like the biggest things, like you said, I'm not really front of house. I've been more back end, behind the scenes stuff. But I mean, even just like the gear knowledge is so like 100 to 1, like everyone knows everything about every binding, and I could reach into a bin and grab any one part, and all you guys would be like, oh yeah, that's the key for a hammerhead or something, and I'm like, I've never even seen a hammerhead or whatever. I have now, but like I would have thought, like, coming into here, like, I guess there's a couple ways you get a job here. Is like, you're a super proficient telemark skier who is a customer, and then you want to work here while you're ski mumming the winter or whatever, or you're a family member who was a telemark skier and you just kind of fall into this position in my case. But
that sounds like a pretty typical story.
Yeah, I don't know. You pretty much fell into it, but I think, hopefully that is a good reflection on, Josh managing the business and me stepping over and managing the business now, where it was like, I mean, we walked you into, your original position as a shipping guy, and it's like, you didn't need to know what, the hammerhead heel key was. You just needed to no, that is 22 Designs part number 17 and it's on that shelf.
Right.
So like, you know, you can we can get you in, and then you're going to learn all these things along the way, because you're probably going to be, you know, shipping all this equipment. It's, oh, I've never seen this. What's this? Oh, you know, and then, yeah, you can kind of hang out with the crew here and go skiing with the crew, and some more than others are more gearheads, but
right.
Like, I mean, I know you've learned a lot more about the gear now. Like, I'm still, one of these days, I'm going to just, like, make you sit down in the front of the shop for an hour just to observe. I want to see how that goes.
That would be interesting.
Because, like, you know what you're talking about with the gear you like, and you probably could sell it, like, because it's good gear. But
that's funny. You know what? That's an interesting evolution with you. I didn't even think about it till we started talking about this. Is you're probably the guy that's been here the longest that never had to be front of house. Like, you're actually more back into this whole place.
Mm-hmm.
But you haven't actually had to be, because I was thinking like Ashley. I mean, she was like,
yeah,
basically like earlier predecessor to what you're doing, which was not. I think you're getting into more complicated stuff as we grow, but she would also like sell gear. And
yeah. Well, we all like had to double up on you know, doing multiple jobs, but she could sell the gear, you know, and just as her being a very beginning Telemark skier at the, you know, beginning, it's like, I mean, she might not have even needed the gear or known how to like make that piece of gear make her skiing better at all. But
oh yeah,
she knew the products. She could explain the product to you. But yeah, that's kind of I don't know. That's just kind of funny with Ashley and Alex being kind of like floaters in the background.
Right. And I think my front of house experience is not zero. I mean, it's never been my responsibility or job description, but there certainly has been times where, you know, the front of house is packed and I have to walk through or walk up front for one reason or another, and I see a customer who is waiting to be helped, and, you know, I'll say like, "Hey, have you been helped yet?" Hoping that they're saying, "Oh yeah, like they're grabbing my skis."
Hoping that they say they've been helped.
Well, yeah, I want them to know that I care, but I'm also like, I'm kind of testing the waters, right? You know, if they say, "Hey, what size t-shirts do you have of this?" "Oh yeah, I could tell you that. Let me go look." But if they say like, "Hey, I blew up my ski. Like, what happened with this binding? Where do I fix? What type of things do I need?" Like, I might not be able to do that or whatever. But
yeah, okay, I see. That's actually good, because that's kind of how the interaction should go, I guess. If you are, you know, like less than qualified to help that customer's specific problem, like say hi to them, make sure that they know we care that they're at our shop. If the question is, "Yeah, my ski blew up," okay, let me go find a ski tech, or let me go find a Nate or whoever.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I've done that once or twice, and at least one time I remember there was a guy, you know, trying on some used boots in our used parts room, and he had sat down on a chair, and he's like putting these on, and, you know, I just like, it's not fitting right, and or something, and I say, "Oh well," and I'm basically like talking in like known facts that are already in front of him.
Oh, so that's a 27.
Yeah, I'm like,
is it too small or too big?
No, yeah, so this is a 26.0 T1. This is a 75 mil boot. This is has a new liner in it, so maybe we could heat mold it and it would fit a little better for you. and I
see, that's the thing is, though, you're smart. Like, just because you haven't got the training necessarily on the sales pitch of every single product, like, you're smart and you can handle that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and so I think I ended up talking to him for a bit, you know, maybe a little bit of exposure to Telemark therapy.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I talked to him for a bit and kind of explained what was going on, and I think I did actually get him up to the counter and like ready to check out. but by that time, like, Sam was available again, and so I said, like, hey Sam, can you ring this guy up?
There you go. So all right, then I guess you've done more front of house than I thought, but yeah, I think for the most part you'll probably be upstairs in the accounting office.
That's the hope. Yeah,
That's the goal.
yeah. And I think yeah, and there was another time or two where I just end up talking to a person about what Freeheel Life is and what we're doing here and what gear I'm on, and that's obviously a question I can answer. Like, oh, I know what gear I'm on. I know how it's supposed to ski, and I know in very layman's terms like what that means in comparison to these other bindings, and so I can speak on that for sure. But
Yeah, we could get you up to speed real fast if we needed a salesperson instead of an accountant. But
Yeah, you've had a lot of interesting experience. Yeah, I think just as time goes by, it's like you end up wearing a hat regardless of.
yeah, I don't know. You just learn things through osmosis. Like, I don't know. Last year I have mounted a ski, and for a couple weeks throughout the winter, I was forced to learn to mount all of the skis in an efficient manner.
Now you're a pro.
Now I'm a pro, but that's still, that's not supposed to be my job.
Welcome to the Freeheel Life, people.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Well, Al, we already went through like over 45 minutes. Are you impressed? But see, this is what I like about this is I feel like we want to bring you into the fold of Freeheel Life podcast world so that we can have you back on. I think what we need to do is probably have like a group podcast. I'm gonna have to buy some more microphones, but we kind of got most of the origin story. How you got into this.
Did we skip around any of your stories? Did you have any other?
Yeah, I want to fill in any blanks. This is the point.
I think I do want to talk about like Monday shreds a little bit.
Oh,
sure. Let's go.
Because
Monday shreds.
Okay, Monday shreds. Explain what is a Monday shred.
Well, Freeheel Life, our retail shop, is open Tuesday through Saturday, and so that leaves Sunday and Monday off.
In the winter, don't come right now.
In the winter, right now, our retail shop is closed. But that leaves Sunday and Monday for everyone to go skiing, basically. And sometimes like I wouldn't ski every Sunday, Monday, but whenever I go up on a Sunday, or usually these Monday shreds, is we would meet up with all of the boys and just ski with a mob of 5 to 12 people at once, which gets a little overwhelming at times. But I think that was a good introduction to the Freeheel Life as a group and as a family, because I was kind of always like, I would really enjoy like just lapping like solo as quick as possible. I would work out my college class schedules where I would have classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then I would be able to go up on like Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings or something like that, and I would like ski half days and just try to get as many laps in as I could. And
numbers guy, he's going for vert.
Yeah, numbers guy. It was fitness. I was trying to get the quads,
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so like once we started skiing with everyone, and that was kind of an interesting experience, because there's something to be said for like skiing on your own, because you're just pushing yourself, and you're not really like going to explore a different area. You kind of like do like what is good, and you won't really like venture off somewhere random on your own. But like skiing with, and I would like begin skiing with Tay like a bunch, and Tay would take me to all these crazy areas, and I would try to keep up with Taylor, and Taylor would hold back because I'm the only other person in his group. But when we were skiing with like all 5 of these people, and like who are incredible skiers, like Elliot and Wyatt, like in particular, like those guys are tough ones to keep up with, and like it's kind of like a mob mentality where everyone's just like has to prove themselves and go as hard as possible, and they go to out all these crazy places and that I wouldn't necessarily go to on my own. But I mean, it's not like out of my skill level. Like, I would still go there. I might just be slower. It might not look as pretty as these guys make it or has flowy, but I mean, that was super cool. Just like skiing with all these people, like it really pushes your telemark ability in a different way.
Oh, 100%. I think you getting involved with, the shop crew and the Monday shreds, and maybe when you weren't working here, but you were skiing on Mondays, like you knew I was up there and whatnot. And like, yeah, that's super cool to see, for me to see my younger brother get better at telemark skiing, but also just to see that mentality of like, you want to push yourself, you want to try and, keep up, or you want to try to do something that, me or someone else wants to try and do. Like, I'm still motivated by, if you make a good turn, like I want to make, it's slightly better, but like there's that competitive nature where we are pushing ourselves. Like, that's super cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably like the main appeal of telemark skiing to me, is like, I hear you say it all the time, Tay, that you're always like chasing perfection, basically, like my grandpa's book, The Perfect Turn. Like, you're always trying to better yourself, and it's such like there isn't like once you do the final line or whatever, like once you do that, it's like, okay, you completed telemark skiing. Well, no, you can always do it a little bit better. You can always do it in a different style or a different speed or a different flow, or connect one more turn than you did the last time. And I think that's the sport of telemark skiing to me.
That might have to be the snippet for the Instagram promo right there. That is the sport.
Well, I
like that, Al. That's.
Have you feel like going to that kind of Monday shred vibe, like, did that help you improve? Do you feel like you've gotten to be a better skier?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I was actually saying that to Taylor. It's like funny because I'll look at these photos when I first met you in 2015 versus I see you ski now, and I'm like, that's like night and day, So it's cool to hear that you've been able to find that experience kind of through that similar thing and pushing each other, and just that achieving something great over a really long period of time, But it's nice to have that. I think that's what's fun about the shop, just from my perspective, is like, yeah, just sort of having that centerpiece of like knowing you can go meet up with people, the sense of community. And then obviously when you're young men, you guys want to just go beat up each other and be the best. Yeah, not to say the young women don't want to do that. That'd probably be good for you guys. You find that girl to get out and start shredding harder than you guys, and give some good competition there too.
Yeah, and I think I specifically said sport of telemark because I see it very similar to hockey, and Taylor always says to golf, because I'm not really a golfer in the family, but I can appreciate how the sport of golf is similar in that way.
Yeah, I mean, you could relate it to hockey more because that's more relevant to like your interests, but yeah, I mean, it's the same. I mean, hockey's maybe a little different where it's like, well, the objective was like to win the game, but it's still like you're never gonna like be as good as you could possibly be. Like, you could always have, been a little faster on the ice, or a little better stick handler, or a little better shooter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I think like how I mentioned that telemark is purely a downhill technique. In my case, like that's another aspect of telemark, is the backcountry skiing, where you go treat it as a hiking expedition. You're not necessarily like going for time or going for speed. Like, you're going out for a hike, and you're going to find lines that nobody else could find, and you're as Dosky says, earn your turn.
Yeah, kind of same sense of adventure or exploration, I guess. But Yeah.
Anyways, that was something I wanted to touch on. I know you were trying to wrap things up.
No,
earlier.
that's good. I wanted to leave it open. I want to fill in those gaps before we get off.
Yeah.
No, but I'm excited that you got on. This is great because sorry it took like 100 more episodes than you thought it would to get on here.
You
But,
should have said something, I guess.
Glad you're here. But yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap up, and you'll be back. And there's nowhere to follow you on social media, so if anybody has suggestions about what his handle should be on Instagram, we're going to start one for him. And message us. Shoot me a message, podcast@freeheellife.com.
Just be Telly Tay's brother.
Oh, my God. In the shadow forever.
Okay, I was going to use my spotlight and my outro to just be like, oh, well, I don't have an Instagram, so go follow Telly Tay. But
that's even better.
But now what?
But now I don't know if I should anymore. I don't want to be Telly Tay's shadow.
Well, I didn't say shadow. I said brother.
I said shadow. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. Let Josh know some ideas, and he'll get back to me.
We'll run it for him. It'll be sweet. All right. Thanks for being here, bro.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah. No, that was super fun. That's probably one of the I've laughed the hardest in this podcast. Maybe just because I know you very well, and I think you're a funny guy. But that was a fun hour or whatever we did.
I love that. All right. So to wrap things up, as always, every week, tell you to sign up for our awesome mailing list, and be sure to do that. It's in the notes. You can link up to that, and we've got all the information going out every week to you, so you can check that out. Find us on social media at Freeheel Life, and you can find me at Josh Nomadson on the Instagram and the Facebook. And we got lots of cool stuff, like Taylor said at the beginning of the episode. Tons of new merchandise. Those Freeheel Life Protector skis, batch number 2. There's a few left. Please get on them now, because we literally don't know how that production schedule is going to roll. We're such a small crew in the wintertime. We're not totally sure how that's going to fly with making skis all winter, so it's a good time to get on it now while we have all the materials available and the time and the resources. So if you got anything you want to hit me up with, podcast@freeheellife.com. And we'll see you next Monday. Until then, spread Telemark always. See you later.